Previously, I made 2 videos about my green card approval and the interview process, but in response to several questions about my recent immigration to the US, I have decided to remake the videos as a whole process from A to Z. Here is the disclaimer. I am a truck driver. I am not an immigration attorney. I am not a legal expert. What I show in this video is my experience, and everyone is different, and so might your immigration journey. One question is it really possible for a truck driver from the UK, Holland, South Africa, Brazil, Colombia, or Belarus to get a permanent residency visa for the USA? In a word, yes. I'm from the UK, and I am now working with immigrants from all of those countries I just mentioned. There are a few pre-qualifications needed for you to be eligible for an employment-based visa. You must be able to speak and understand English. You must have 2 years' experience driving the big trucks. In the UK, this means having a Class 1 HGV license. Your license must be free from accidents and drink driving-related endorsements. You have to have a job offer from a US-based sponsoring company. There is absolutely zero chance that you can find a quality sponsoring company and then complete all the immigration forms by yourself. There are many forms, and they are long and full of legal text. If you complete them incorrectly and submit them for review to the USCIS, they will be rejected, leading to lengthy and financially costly delays. You need a good relocation service. I chose Visa Solutions. They are one of the biggest relocation attorney companies in the world, helping thousands of people like you and me realize their dreams every year. But there are many others to choose from, so take your time and review their online presence and reviews. Another important thing, in my opinion, was that they ask for no money up front. For me, that was a good sign. I will only pay them back if my EB3 green card is approved. The only things I have had to pay for are UK medical fees and police record checks. All other costs will be paid back, interest-free, over 3 years direct from my wage. In total, I will pay around $9,000 to Visa Solutions. The first thing Visa Solutions got me to do was to complete an eligibility check. They ask things about you and your family to make sure that you are qualified, and there are no criminal history that would result in visa refusal. Once they confirm that you are okay, they ask you to create a short video around 60 seconds long to promote you to prospective employers and also to confirm that you can speak English to a satisfactory level. During the visa process, you are required to have 2 medical examinations. After Visa Solutions were satisfied that I was academically qualified, I was directed to have a qualifying medical. The reason for this first medical is to avoid problems much later. It would be very disappointing to get right to the end of the application process to have a medical to find you don't meet the requirements. The cost of this initial medical was around £175 and must be done by an approved doctor. Your relocation company can now secure a job offer. Visa Solutions' policy is to find you one job offer. You either take it or leave it. I got the impression that getting a job offer is not a simple process, and I was lucky to get one fairly quickly. United States Citizenship and Immigration Services application. This is where your relocation company earn their money. The sheer number and complexity of the forms you must complete is mind-boggling. I would have never managed it on my own, even with the help of my parents who have also gone through this green card application process. The legal wording on the forms makes them not straightforward to fill in. USCIS want to know everything about you, your immediate family, and your parents. Your employment, address, travel, and medical history are all extracted in fine details. They also want to know all your social media presence and activity. You must also obtain a police report for your country of birth and submit this. Assuming everything is good, the U.S. Department of Labor will review your application and do exhaustive checks to make sure there are no U.S. citizens who could do the job you are applying for. This process can take between 6 and 12 months, or longer if there are any complications. Assuming the DOL are happy, they will approve your application for a work permit. Don't celebrate just yet. There are several steps left. Once you have the DOL approval, you can now fill in more forms and apply to the National Visa Center for a visa. The NVC will process your application and either approve or reject you. Assuming they issue you a visa, you are then put on a waiting list for an interview at the U.S. Embassy in your country. Unfortunately, this waiting list is not a first-come, first-served basis. It is done on several complicated categories and issuing dates. Like all the dealings with the USCIS, you have absolutely no way to influence the speed of processing or the outcome. You also have zero visibility of what is happening. You just have to sit and wait in the hope that your application is actually being looked at by someone. You have to trust the process, and it is incredibly frustrating to have no power. The timescale is beggar's belief. From my DOL approval to my interview at the embassy was 15 months, and that was with my sponsoring company paying for premium processing. Interview and medical. Your interview invitation is sent to you by the NVC. Mine was sent to my attorney 2 weeks before the interview date in London. You are required to have a medical at least 2 weeks, but not more than 6 months before the interview. For me, this was not possible as the wait time for the medical was 1 week. Therefore, I had to have my medical on Monday and my interview 2 days later. The outcome of my embassy interview would be on hold until the medical results were sent to the embassy. The medical must be done at a U.S. embassy-approved provider. In England, there is only one approved doctor's office. They are in London, close to the U.S. Embassy. You must call them to make an appointment, and they advise you what documentation you need to bring with you, such as a printed concise medical history, a vaccination record, your interview appointment letter, your police criminal check report, and your passport. The medical takes around 2 hours. You have some blood taken for analysis, a chest X-ray to look for tuberculosis, and they can also administer any vaccinations that you are required to have for U.S. immigration. All these in addition to standard medical examinations such as blood pressure, eyes, and ears, nose, and throat tests. The cost of this medical is paid by you direct to the medical office. With the required vaccinations that I needed, the total cost of this exam was £575. The interview at the U.S. Embassy in London can be quite nerve-wracking as you have been waiting for this day for such a long time. There is a list of prohibited items that you must not bring to your interview, along with a long list of documentation that you do need to bring. The security procedure for getting inside the embassy is like an airport security checkpoint. You must present your passport and your interview appointment letter. You progress through the entrance and have your documents checked, your fingerprints taken, and submit a photograph. After sitting in the waiting area, your number is called, and you proceed to a booth where a U.S. consular officer asks you questions relating to your application. This person has the power to approve or reject your application, so it is best to be prepared and be professional. I was asked about the company I will work for, my working history, and the relocation company I was using. None of the questions were trick questions. They were simple to answer. I was advised by my attorney to be honest, but to only answer the questions asked. I was advised that my application was successful pending my medical results, and the consular officer retained my passport, which is the outcome wanted. You then leave the embassy building and the process is done. Now all you must do is wait for the return of your passport with your visa inside. You will also receive a large A3 size envelope which must only be opened by an immigration officer upon your arrival in the U.S. Do not lose or open this envelope. You must travel to the U.S. within 6 months of the issuing date, otherwise you will need another medical and embassy interview. You must arrange a flight date that suits you and your sponsor company. This then allows you to finalize your affairs, end your current job, pack and ship your personal belongings, say goodbye to family and friends, and start your new life. In summary, my advice is this. Don't delay anything. Start the process now. Expect the whole process, from first contact with a relocation specialist to receiving your passport with EB3 visa attached, to take a minimum of 2 years. Mine was closer to 3 years. November 2021 to August 2024. Find a reputable relocation company, one that has a long history and good reviews. They are the key to making sure your application is a success. Do not try and go cheap, and do not try to do it by yourself. Technically, you can do it by yourself, but it is practically impossible in my opinion. Good luck in your future travels. If you have any questions, please leave me a comment, like, and subscribe to follow my American dream.